Welcome back to my podcast. Oh my God, so excited. For real, seriously. Welcome back to my podcast review by Top Shelf Tammie, where I review books and make suggestions for you guys to read. All right. So always listen, if I am like super giggly, smiling in that first welcome back, y'all already know the books is about to be good. Like that's almost kind of my giveaway. You can just watch that part and be like, okay, yeah, let's read these books she's about to review. But seriously, guys, so welcome back to the podcast. I am excited because these books, oh, baby, they sent me on a whirlwind of emotion. So, yes, I am like super excited to give them to you guys. And without further ado, let's jump right in, okay? Um, this first book that I am going to review for you guys is a first read, and my first time actually reading this Arthur. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, so drum roll, please. The name of the book is The Brazzi Family, A Dark Mafia Romance by Victoria C. So again, this was my first time reading this author, so I'm not familiar with her work. So I actually do plan on reading some more of her books just to get a good feel for her. Because usually the books that I recommend for you guys and the books that I do read, I like those authors. So yeah, I try to keep my authors in rotation. We would put it like that. And I'm not opposed to, getting new authors, but I like to know a good amount of their work. You know what I'm saying? Making reviews and recommendations, stuff like that. Okay. So jumping right into the review, the book report on this book. Again, the name of the book is The Brazzi Family, A Dark Mafia Romance by Jatoria C. The setting of this book was Adobo Cape. The book is fairly new. It was just published in March 30th of 2025. My genre classification of this book was dark, unnatural, fantasy, urban mystery. Roller coaster romance, roller coaster emotion. So you can already tell from that classification, it was it was some stuff. It was all over the place a little bit. It was some errors in this book, not enough to kind of detour you for reading or anything like that. But yeah, it was a couple errors. Vocabulary. It was some vocabulary in this book, and I gotta say, I love a good vocabulary queen. I love a good vocabulary queen. So this book actually had a couple vocabulary words that I was like very interested in. I'm like, let me bring it to you guys on the podcast. Um, because there's nothing better than when you can read a book for entertainment but still learn something. That's great. So we got to give it up to the vocabulary queen. All right. So without further ado, those vocabulary words are oligarchy. So oligarchy means a government in which a small group exercises control, especially for corruption and selfish purposes. So again, referring back to the title, a dark mafia romance. So that vocabulary word is very fitting for the story. The other vocabulary word that I chose for you guys was palisho, and it means lavish, which is also going to be very fitting for the story. So yes, again, vocabulary queen, we love you, girl. Um, the main characters in this book is Navy and Marley. Navy is the guy, Marley is the girl. But could Navy been a girl and Marley is a guy? They could have. That actually do work. So, but yeah, Navy is the guy, Marley is the girl. Let's get on to the summary of the book. Okay. In Adobo Cape, the name Brazzi isn't just powerful, it's feared. Navy Brazzi, a ruthless detective with deep mafia ties, commands respect everywhere he goes. His influence is absolute, his methods merciless, and love has never been a part of his plan until Marley Thompson steps into his world. Marley is fierce, untouchable, and hates everything the Brazzi family stands for. She spent her whole life protecting herself from men like Navy, building walls high enough to keep their power and corruption far away. She would rather burn the Brazzi family to the ground than become one of their pawns. But Navy Brazzi isn't just a man who takes no for an answer. His obsession with Marley turns dangerous, becomes less about love and more about control. And he'll stop at nothing to keep her within reach, even if it means manipulation and force. As Navy pushes closer, Marley finds herself pulled into a deadly game of secrets, power, and betrayal. Every step he takes chips away at her defense, even glances weaken her resolve. But when the dark truth surfaces, like her own brother's blood being tied to the Brazzi family, the fragile connection between them shattered, leaving love twisted into a weapon. The Brazzi family is a gritty, high stakes romance where passion collides with danger and loyalty is tested against the ultimate betrayal. In this world, love isn't soft. It's a trap and it might cost Marley everything. Yes, y'all. So, as I mentioned before, roller coaster of feelings. Okay. So, I'm gonna just get into the review book report so y'all can understand what I'm saying. Okay. Was the book engaging? So let me say this. When I asked myself that question, was the book engaging? I kind of look at it just the beginning of the book because the beginning of the book has to be engaging to me for me to finish it. So when I answer that question for you guys, I always kind of give you like a tidbit or like a snippet of like the beginning of the book. So again, was this book engaging? Yes, this book started out very much engaging. Um, as I mentioned before, it's like a unnatural fantasy book. So the beginning setup of this book is them just telling you who the Brazzi family is. And who the Brazzi family is basically the mafia government, right? They hold every high position of power in this town, from like the president to the mayor to the sheriff to the high power lawyers. Like they're connected to everything, and that's who they are. They're rich, they're powerful, and all that good stuff. So the beginning of the book starts out very engaging because you like, see what these fools about to get into, right? Because you can't give people too much power because what they gonna do? They gonna do something, right? So it's definitely like, let me stay tuned to see what's gonna happen. So the beginning of the book is very much engaging. The book is very much engaging, yes. Was the plot predictable? No. So like when I started reading this book, I absolutely did not know where this book was going, right? So the plot is not predictable. It does take you on an emotional roller coaster. Good, good. It was good, not a bad one, not too bad or whatever like that. So no, I just did not see the plot going this way. I did not see some of the things being revealed the way that they was, which is always a plus because it's, you don't want to read a predictable book. Point blank, period. That's it. So definitely good. It was not predictable. The book strengths to me. The book strengths to me was originality. Like we just said, was the plot predictable. The book was very original. And I know sometimes when you're doing a lot of reading, it could become redundant. Like you could skip authors and sometimes you will run into like the same plots or whatever to me. So I always feel like when a author have very original work, that's always a strength. So that was definitely the strength to me because it was something that I didn't see coming. It was something original. It was something fresh. So it was definitely like, yes, it was good. Book weaknesses. So it's two to me. It's two book weaknesses to me. One of them was, I'm sorry to say it. One of them was, I feel like the author, well, I can't, you know what? I don't want to say that. I feel like either the author got a little confused on writing this character because the character came across confused. So I don't know if that was done purposely or if it was done accidentally. But the character actions kind of gave very conflicting. So that was kind of like a weakness to me because it didn't seem like it was done purposely. So that means like, the authors, they sometimes they write these books to take years to write. couple months to write. So when they start now, their feelings might be a little bit different from so when they get to the middle to the end of the book. So sometimes the characters can become like a little confused, and that shined through to me on this particular character. And I don't think it was done purposely. So like that was like one of the weaknesses to me. It's kind of like a little back and forth. Um, yeah. So the other weakness to me was the plot upgrade thrown into the end of the book. Like y'all know I do not like the plot upgrades. Now, the difference between the plot upgrades is like if we're just naturally flowing with the plot of the story and some things happen, twists and turns, okay. But when we have these very major like plot upgrades to me that's like super unnecessary, I don't like it. And it was one at the end of the book, I feel like it was unnecessary. So that was a weakness to me, and that also kind of reflected in my rating of this book. But we're gonna get to that. Did the book make you care about the characters? Absolutely. The book made me care about the female character of this book, Marley, like for her safety. This is like a mystery, thriller, unnatural. It's a lot going on. And I was like biting my little fingernails, like, oh, Marley, get your gun, girl, get your mace, girl, get your, like really concerned for her safety to the end of the book. So yes, like the author did a very good job of drawing us in and making us care about the character Marley. So absolutely. Was the plot and the dialogue believable? So I want to say for the plot, was that believable? I want to say yes. Like I feel like it was believable until it wasn't believable. And I say that to say the way that this book was wrote and the way that it read and presented, it didn't seem like a unnatural fantasy book until you actually got to the end. So like that's when the elements of that showed up in the book to me. Um so it was kind of like, is the plot believable? You would think you was thinking kind of no, but then when you switch to this fantasy, then it's yes. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm teetering on that one. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with the plot. It's fine, but it just didn't read as a fantasy unnatural book until the end to me. Was the dialogue believable? The dialogue was believable. Navy was a little irritating at times with talking about kind of like he gonna do what he want to do and like the amounts of money that he spent, like that part was kind of like it was a little over the top, but I do realize like it's real people like that in the world, a little braggy or whatever. So that part is believable as well. So again, was the plot and dialogue believable? Yes. Inaccuracies. It was no inaccuracies in this book. This book take place over the course of like a couple of weeks. So it's not any really like major timeline jumps. So it's not anywhere for like us or the author to get like confused with the details of the story. So it's no inaccuracies. Everything picked up seamlessly because it is sometimes like a week jump or something like that. But everything makes sense. Whew, y'all, the hard part, okay, is the trigger warnings. The trigger warnings is some trigger warnings. So murder, but y'all are used to that one. I'm just playing, just playing. Um, and the other ones is sexual coercion and mental abuse. Those parts definitely to make the story dark. Yeah. So overall, I feel like I give this book as a rating. I give this book like a 3.5, a 3.75. So not quite a 4, but not a 3 either. As I mentioned before, why I couldn't get that strong 5 to me is one was like the plot upgrade. The plot upgrade to me seemed unnecessary. Um it threw that fantasy unnatural in kind of at the end. Like I said, it didn't read like that. And I guess it was just like, oh, let's make this an interesting part of the story. Let's throw it in there. So it came in the end and it came where it wasn't necessary to me. So I really didn't like that. I told y'all I really don't like plot upgrades like that deep. That it was a deep one. Um, so we got deductions for that plot upgrade. We got a couple of deductions for the sexual coercion and to the mental abuse because I feel like the story could have still made its point without that. Like, was it's not deep enough to disturb the story to stop you from reading, but it's kind of unnecessary. I didn't like it. So I definitely took some points away from that. And then again, we took a couple more points away because when I originally read this book, it read like a standalone. It kind of wrapped the story up. It was okay, okay ending, but then that plot upgrade was the part I'm guessing that made the part two come about. So originally, when I read this book, it appeared to be a standalone, and I read this book a couple months ago when I came to write it the report to do it for you guys is when I think that it was a part two. I will read the part two and maybe my rating would change and maybe some of my feelings on like the trigger warnings would change because I do know sometimes in like the part twos of the series, that is when the author does like character development. So some of these little bad toxic traits can be fixed. So when I do the questions and discussions part of this, I will do both books, and we're gonna see if my rating stays the same as the 3.5 or to the range 3.7. Um, but yeah, so again, I'm not mad at it. I do recommend you guys read it because I'm a hard critic. You might not be. And it is good enough. It's good enough to read. Absolutely. So the Brozzi Family, A Dark Mafia Romance by Jatoria C. The review, I recommend you, girl. All right, guys. Moving on. Righty, guys. So yes, jumping right into our next book of today's episode. This is the one. Y'all know. Y'all already know that I am not shy to tell y'all which one is my favorite, and this is the one. This is the one. So just a teeny bit of backstory. This was a reread for me. This would be my second time reading this book. And when I say book bay, matter of fact, put an S on that. Book bays, okay? Book bays is in this book for the ladies. These men is gonna do it for y'all. They gonna do it for y'all. Y'all gonna like this one. So again, um this was not a hard reread for me because I remember the first time that I read this book and how I felt and how grateful to the how grateful I was to the author for this book. Um, yeah. So without further ado, a drum roll please to what book we are doing. The book is He Exposed Me to Real and Now I Hate Lanes by Natavia. Girl, y'all. The title says it all. So I'm gonna say it again for y'all. He exposed me to real. So now he exposed me to real and now I hate lanes. I think that was like a line from a song or whatever, but let's break that down. So you know you got to get a strong, stand on business, sexy man. Any man that he exposed you to real and now you hate messing with a certain genre of men or a certain man with certain characteristics. I tell y'all girls, book bay. Book bays. Book bays. It's two of them. It's two of them. Alrighty, so without further ado, let's jump into the report so we can wrap this thing on up. Alrighty. So this one is a series as well. So the books that we did today was the Brozzi Family Dark Mafia Romance. That was a 2-book series. And then the one He Exposed Me to Real Now I Hate Lanes, that is going to be 3 books. So yeah, so let's get into it. Again, the author is Natavia. For some reason, I do not have the setting I don't know what happened on that part. But I think it was East Coast. I think it was like Baltimore area, whatever like that. But I'm gonna go back. For some reason I don't got it. But I'm gonna go back and I'll put it in there. This book was published a while ago because, like I said, it was a reread for me, and it was a book that actually stuck on my mind. And I'm gonna tell you about. I'm about to show y'all how hard it stuck on my mind because it was published March 21st of 2018. So for me to go back in the crates and pull up a 2018 book, y'all know it was good. It was good, y'all. It was good. My general classification of this book is a urban romance drama. So we're gonna get urban romance drama. Eras, it was a few eras. It was no vocabulary for this series of books. And that's okay. Main characters. So, as I just mentioned before, it is a series of books. So I kind of broke it down on how the characters are run. So, as you guys know, main characters is characters that we get a story from them. We get their story. So, the main characters in this book is Shanta, Damos, aka Bullet, and then Quenya, which is a guy, Chastity, and then come and Desi. Coming for book two, we're going to get those same people, but we're going to add Bishop, Rakita, and Chaos. And then those are all of those is all the people that you're gonna get book three as well. And then I wanna say, yeah, that's it. That's all you're gonna get in book three. Okay, so let's jump into the summary and then we're gonna get into the book report. And then I'm gonna let y'all read because y'all gotta get this. Yeah, I gotta get these book bays. All right. Ashanta Bennett's life looks picture perfect. A successful pediatrician married to a man everyone envies. Damos Bennett seems to have it all wealth, charm, and power. But behind their lavish home and shiny cars lies a dark truth. Their marriage is a battlefield. Damos isn't the prince Ashanta thought she married. Enter Quinius Smithson, the town's golden boy, a young baker mogul with a dangerous secret. To the world, he's hardworking businessman. In the streets, he's a kingpin with power that demands respect. What he what he doesn't have is love. Until Ashanta crosses his path. Their chemistry is undeniable, but their secrets could get them both killed. Meanwhile, best friends Desi and Chastity have their own scandals brewing. Chastity is tangled up in an affair with a married man, while Desi's falling hard for Bishop, a hustler whose name started to make waves in all the wrong places. As lies unravel, loyalty is tested, friendships crack, marriages crumble, and no one knows who to trust. In this high class meets hood life drama, love is risky, betrayal is deadly, and everybody has an agenda. In a world where secrets can destroy you, the real question is who's man enough to expose the truth and who's strong enough to survive it? So we get a lot of characters in this book. We get a lot of drama. We get a lot of sexy guys. You already know. So, yeah. I hate I be giving it away. Like I have no poker face at all, so y'all can probably already guess what I gave this book. But I'm gonna still make y'all wait to the end of the book report. Moving into the book report. Was the book engaging? So yes, I feel like it got straight to the point. It didn't hold you too much on the plot. Like it got to the nitty gritty quick. So yes, it was very engaging. So again, like when I think of is the book engaging, I always kind of think of like those opening chapters, and it was very much engaging. Like we said, we started out with somebody who's like at the picture perfect situation, and then that shit goes down real quick. Okay, that shit goes down real quick, and you like, okay. Shaking my head. Let's see where this goes. So absolutely. Okay. Was the plot predictable? I say like 50-50. The plot is predictable. And like I said, maybe because this was a reread, everything wasn't so fresh, but I could kind of see where the story was going. But if it was my 2018 review, I would probably say no. But it it's like predictable where you can make some assumptions and you might be right depending on how good you are, like guessing books or whatever like that. But then it's some stuff that you is just gonna not see coming and you gonna be like, you trifling, traveling. Right. So yeah, 50-50. But it's definitely still a good read where the plot is not too much predictable, like you're not gonna know. But yes. Book strengths. The book strength to me, this book strength to me was the story actually lived up to the title. Need I say more? Like I want to say more. I want to say more, but I don't want to get it away. Like I want to say more. I want to tell y'all so bad, but I don't want to give it away. So that is the book strength to me. Like it definitely lived up to the title. So if you ready for that real man, this the one. This is the one. The book weaknesses. Okay. So the book weakness, just read my notes or whatever. So the book weakness to me was it was too many characters. Now I know I just said it was juicy, it was gonna be trauma, but it was too many characters. I do feel like this was a perfect because it's 3 books, but I do feel like this was kind of the perfect opportunity where some characters and storylines could have had their own book. Now, the good part of that is I do feel like it tied together very good in the end, but it didn't necessarily have to. I feel like if the author wanted to milk this, she could have made, instead of making this 3 books, she could have made this 4 books and had a storyline here and a storyline here, and possibly like a 5th book where they tied together. But I sometimes when I'm reading a book, I like to see just like one boy, one girl, one female, one male. I like to see their storyline, kind of they love unfold and then kind of come to a conclusion and everything like that. And this one we see multiple and it's a lot. So that's just like my weakness to me. Maybe like, I got a little ADHD, like my attention span ain't, no, I'm just joking. But no, my attention span, and I was able to follow along with all of the characters, but it becomes a lot. And like by the time we get to book 3, I was like, ma'am, ma'am, better not be no book 4. But still, it didn't take away none of the sex appeal. Okay, yeah. So moving on. Next question. Did the book make you care about the characters? Yes, I feel like it absolutely did. I feel like the book started out Shanta's shitty husband. They tried to, hold a lot of their marriage together, and unfortunately, like it didn't. And I feel like it was like a little manipulation in that way, in that aspect going on. Um, and not just her. It was another character I feel like I was really invested in. Her storyline was Desi. Like, she came from like a really hard background. So yes, the art, I don't want to get too much away because this ain't questions and discussions, right? But yes, the author did a really good job of giving us that just amount of right backstory, right current story, to make you care about them. So yes, it was a very filling book. Yes. Was the plot and the dialogue believable? Yes. So this is a urban romance, hood drama. It fit that. The dialogue, nobody's over the top, nobody's like underwhelmed. Like nobody's underwhelmingly speaking either. So like the plot and the dialogue, it fits. It's a hood love story. Inaccuracies, no. So it's no inaccuracies, even though no, it's no inaccuracies. It's some stuff we're gonna talk about in questions and discussions, but it don't fall under inaccuracies and it don't come in the book report. It's questions and discussions. So because if I say to y'all now, I'm gonna get too much away. So we'll talk about it in questions and discussions. Trigger warnings in this book. Just murder. just murder. But I want to say it's really not too graphic. It's not too graphic. So besides that, that's basically really it. I kept this review short and sweet because I don't want to hold you guys up. I want you guys to get to your reading. Again, the smile has been on my face since I started telling y'all about this book, so y'all can already guess what I gave this book. So I gave this book um 5 stars, but I'm thinking I should give it 4.5, just because of the extra length of it. Like I said, it could have been 2 stories, and it didn't necessarily have to be. So I'm gonna say 4.5 stars. But I love this book. I love this book. It was great enough for me to reread it, and I didn't reread it with no problems. It was great. I recommend this book. In a couple years, if I forget, I might read it again. So yeah, this book was one of them girls. So absolutely. So he exposed me to real, and now I hate lames by Natavia. The review, I recommend you, girl. So yes, short, sweet, and simple. Moving forward, I think I was putting too many books into in the reviews because I was doing 3 books, and I have been running into a lot of books that series. So that's becoming a little strenuous, and it's making the my episodes that I upload, they kind of make them too timely, too long for you guys. So I'm like, let me just cut back a little bit on how many books I review. So from now moving forward, we're just gonna do 2 books per report episode. So then that way we get in, we get out, we kind of get to the point. So then when we do questions and discussions, I had to review questions and discussions for 2 books, 3 books, and it just make it really long or whatever like that. So we'll try to make like one, like a supernatural, whatever it may be, vampires, gargoyles, mermaids, magic, witches, whatever the case may be. We'll try to make one like that. And then the other one, like a murder mystery, urban romance drama, something like that. So it's still gonna be something for everybody. So y'all don't worry, don't trip, do not trip. But yes, that is the end of the podcast, and I'm not gonna hold you guys. So yes, if you enjoyed it and you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay in tune with me. Turn your notifications on. Even though I'm live every Thursday, getting you right in time for your weekend reads, turn your notifications on. So if you guys want to stay connected, and email me you guys' reviews on the books and see if they match mine, or see if you feel differently about it. And I think I'm probably gonna do like one episode like dedicated to you guys writing in of the books. So that email is ts_tammypie@yahoo.com. That is the same email that any authors who want to get their books review or a poem read, you guys can submit it there. If you want to follow me on Instagram, because I be lit. I do be lit, but anyway, you can follow me at topshelf_Tammie. That's IG. And then on TikTok is Top Shelf Tammie. Y'all. Alrighty. So again, this has been reviewed by me, Top Shelf Tammie. Again, today I did The Brazzi Family, a dark mafia romance by Jatoria C. I gave that one a 3.5, 3.7, but girl, we recommend you. The other book that we did, He Exposed Me to Real, and Now I Hate Lanes by Natavia. I gave that a 4.5. So again, pick your book, and I'll meet you right here next week for discussions and questions.